Wake up, everybody! Welcome to Navy SEAL Blog Talk Radio. I'm your host, David Rutherford. As a behavioral training specialist, motivational speaker, author, and life coach, my mission in life is to help you discover the behavioral truths behind what it takes for you to succeed in any environment imaginable. So stand by and let me help you embrace your fears, forge your self-confidence, and learn to live the team life. HOOYAH! All right. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Everybody is up and at 'em. Everybody is stretched out. Everybody's got that cup of Java just flowing through your veins at Mach 10. It's coming at you like this. It's, are you ready to go? You just sprinted up and down your street. You took your dog for a walk in your PJs. You let your gut hang all out. You've done your 10,000 burpees this morning. You've push-ups. You've gone for a swim. You've rucked. You've broken down all the barriers at all the national monuments so you can get in and run through there, doing your marathon training or whatever you're doing. And then guess what, folks? Boom! That's right. Boom! Boom, 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 boom! You just got rocketed. You just got attacked. IEDs going off all over the place. And this is what I'm talking about. They're coming at you because you just got fired from your job yesterday afternoon. You came in, you've been doing an incredible job, folks, and next thing you know, your senior HR person comes over, pulls you off to the side and says, hey, by the way, here's your severance package. We need to let you go. And you're like, and then all of a sudden you went home from work that day and you're already feeling bummed out. You had a couple at the bar before you got home, and you go in, and then the next thing you know, your wife comes out to you and she says, by the way, I'm leaving. And she actually sounds like that, right, too. She goes, by the way, I'm leaving you. And you're like, what? She leaves you with the kids. She leaves you with the payments. She leaves you everything, and she expects her alimony check. And then you're like, oh, my gosh. The next day you have to wake up for a doctor's appointment. You go in and you find out you got prostate cancer. And they're telling you that if you don't have an immediate operation, you're going to be dead in the ground. You're realizing that pine box actually might have your name on it. And then when all of that's going just totally sideways, you're upside down. You don't know which way's up or back or front or whatever. Then you decide, hey, you know what sounds like a good idea? I think I'll just start jabbing a big, gigantic needle in my arm and start mainlining heroin. Yeah, that's awesome. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get addicted to heroin and pills and everything else that's going to anesthetize this incredible pain that I'm getting hammered by. And then when it's all said and done, you're so immersed in the worst sense of depression that you could ever imagine in your wildest dreams. The next thing you know, you decide, well, you know what? I'm going to be suicide. I think I'm going to kill myself because there's got to be something better in the afterlife, or at least if I'm dead, I don't have to face all this stuff, and boom, then it's over. Wow. That's a pretty hardcore way to start your Saturday morning, and I apologize to all you in that one. But that's the combat of life. That's what happens day in and day out in our worlds, whether or not you succumb to those pressures or you allow the intensity of that combat, that negative insurgency to overwhelm you and get the best of you. Yeah, that's a whole different question. That's a whole different question. You have to decide, who are you in those moments? Who are you? What is the definition that you have of yourself in the midst of that chaos? You know, do you start out, I am a strong man? I am a empathetic woman? I am this, I am that. This is what I do. This is what I know. This is what I've been trained. Is that how you define yourself in those incredible moments when you're getting pulverized? Is that what you do? Is that how you go about business? Do you have that definition of yourself? The words that you have smashed down on a logbook with an old number 2? Right? Those old green logbooks from the Navy. All my Navy folks know out there what I'm talking about. All those entries in your life that have said, this is who I am in the hardship of life. This is who I am when the rubber meets the road. This is who I know I will be and who I will always be able to become. You have all that down, right? You have all that stuff already written down in your life, right? You know, and there are words next to those moments where you've defined yourself. On a lot of those failures, there's words, those dark, horrible, nasty, haunted house type words of failure and miserable and pain and alone and hate and fear, right? Those encompassing words that just kind of like a tidal wave just wash over you and spill you out all over the proverbial hinterland, right? I mean, those are the words that you use to describe yourself, that you define yourself. Well, at least that's how we typically have. That's how our behavior has treated us in the past. That, man, in those horrible moments, we do feel like failures. We are miserable. We do, the pain of suffering is almost intolerable. We are isolated in our minds, and we hate ourselves for what we're doing. And the fear that has overwhelmed us feels like that no matter what we think, what we do, however the characteristics are, we will never overcome this. We will never be victorious on this battle of life. Well, I say and halt, folks. And halt. Because that's just not how it works. Because today's show, we're going to help you. We're going to give you some tips. We're going to inspire you. We're going to motivate you better than ever before to help you redefine who you are on the battlefield. Because it's just that simple, folks. It's just that simple. You can take the time to redefine. You can write it down. You can change the context of that number 2 that has driven that wedge in that paper, that beautiful paper, the logbook of your life. You can change how it is. You can begin to say, you know what? I am strong. I am self-confident. I have endurance. I have grace in my life. And you know what? I am loved. Because in these moments and in these times where despair and all this other nonsense was hammering the snot out of me, I reached out and there were people on my team. There was my swim buddy, my family, the people who love me most, who reached out, grabbed my hand, pulled me back into the team life and said, "You're gonna be okay." Now think about that. Think about the context of how you define it. You can define it in miserable terms, or you can define it in powerful terms. You can define it with hate, or you can define it with love. You can define it with fear. You can define it with confidence. Whatever you want to define it, it's up to you, folks. And that's what this show is all about, to help you realize you have that power. You have the capacity. You have the tactical know-how, the knowledge. And guess what? If you don't right now, that's why we're here. That's why we at Team Froglogic, that's why me, David Rutherford, that's my mission in life, is to help you embrace that and understand that it's possible. So, that's a big deal. So that's today's show, folks. I hope everybody's fired up. I hope everybody is ready for this because, we're going to get into helping you define yourself on the battlefield. Then we're going to talk about what everybody wants to know about, how Navy SEALs define themselves on the battlefield. And then we'll move into the Froglogic concept, which is my motivational philosophy that I've been developing over the past 20 years, right? This is me searching the human condition long and far across all through the world, and all my travels and all my experiences, whether it was playing lacrosse at Penn State or whether it was in the mountains of Afghanistan or whether in Haiti on a mission trip, wherever it was, man, I have been on this journey to try and understand what about the human condition enables us to succeed. And that's where I came up with the Froglogic concept, right? Thinking like a frog man, thinking like an old UDT, UDT wearing, duck feet wearing, Kmart mask, 50 pounds of TNT wearing, badass dude that's out there on the front line defining himself every single time he dives under that water to plant that obstacle, blow up that obstacle. That's the key, right? And that's where Froglogic comes from, because I combine it with 70-plus years of UDT SEAL experiences. And that's the deal, folks. I combine this stuff, and this makes what it is. So the Froglogic concepts I'm going to share with you today to help you define yourself on the battlefield are Mission 1, stay calm. Mission 2, trust your training. Mission 3, allow your team to inspire you. And Mission 4, fight with everything you are. That's right, folks. Fight with everything you are. So that's how we're going to do it. So I hope everybody's fired up for today's show. I mean, I know I was off the air last week, but I apologize about that. But here's the deal. My little bear, my little 3-year-old girl, the bear, she turned 3, had a big birthday party. And you know the deal, folks. Family and team comes first, man. And that's the way you got to be. That's part of defining yourself on the battlefield, isn't it? Okay, fired up, airborne. All right, here we go. So let's get right into definitions. So as everybody knows how I like to do it on my show, on Navy SEAL Blog Talk Radio, is I like to define this stuff. I like to get everybody's brains on the same sheet of music, get everybody's minds thinking the same way. Because when we do that, we have to pull things together in life. We have to kind of pool our collective resources of intellectual property, if you will, right? And put it all together. And now, I'm not saying that everybody's got the same definition, but this gets everybody thinking in the same lines. All right, so here we go. The definition of battle, right? Generally, a battle is a conceptual component in the hierarchy of combat in warfare between two or more armed forces or combatants. A war sometimes consists of many battles. Battles generally are well defined in duration, area, and force commitment. Wars and military campaigns are guided by strategy, whereas battles take place on a level of planning and execution known as operational mobility. German strategist Karl von Clausewitz, I don't even know if I said that right, stated that the employment of battles to achieve the objective of war. Was, in essence, the strategy. All right, that's pretty cool right there. I dig that. So that's a pretty good understanding of battle. That gets everybody thinking about what a battle is, okay? Now let's jump into the self. Because what I talk about is defining oneself on the battlefield of life, right? So let's talk about the self. Now, everybody who's ever taken one class of philosophy or studied any one thing about Socrates, right? Old Socrates there from Bill and Ted's, right? Or talked about Descartes or Camus or any existential knucklehead that's out there, right? Knows that the idea of self is a very, very profound concept. So let's just start with touch on it real quickly. The self is the subject of one's own experience of phenomenon, perception, emotions, thoughts. It is conceived as what experiences, and there isn't any experiencing without an experiencer, the self. The self is therefore an immediate given, an intrinsic dimension of the fact of experiencing phenomenon. In some other trends of philosophy, the self is instead seen as requiring a reflexive perception of oneself. The individual person, meaning the self in such a view, is the object of consciousness. Now, you can see how, man, we get into those things, dude. People will be like, woohoo, woohoo. That's too much for my knuckle dragging brain, right? And that's true. A lot of times, self and ideas, philosophical or sociological or psychological ideas of self can be very complicated. But here's what I'm saying to you is you know what makes you feel bad. You know what makes you feel good. You know what right is. You know what wrong is. So that's the deal. That's yourself, folks. You know what you know that when somebody treats you poorly, that hurts, man. And when somebody wraps their big old meat hooks around you and gives you one of those big old bear hugs, that feels great. That's an identity of the self. That's a perception of who you are and what your environment around you does to you. So that's the self in my world, right? As it relates to my team and my perceptions of how the outside world affects me. And most importantly, how I'm affected by the combat or the battlefield of life. So let's get into the question, shall we? Why is it important to define yourself on the battlefield? Why? I mean, why is it necessary? Why do I even have to do that? Most people think, just get into battle and react. Just, get into these situations where everything's coming at you 1,000 miles an hour and just react to it. Just start throwing haymakers, right? Just start giving those forward chops, the kicks and all that, the headbutts, the arm bars, the kimuras, the good takedown strategy, whatever. I mean, just wing it. But that doesn't work, folks. That doesn't work. You have to understand who you are and prepare yourself for the battlefield life. And then when you're in battle, be able to define yourself. Why? Because most people, most of the time, we either try and define ourselves a little bit beforehand, right? While we're going through life as we react and we get to know people, we try and think about life as, man, that's really important to me. And, or yeah, that's real cool. But it's not anything that's definitive, right? That it really is set in stone foundation of who we are internally. That soulful that cornerstone that we need to be. And then, or after a battle is when a lot of times when most people think about things, and where I ask people all the time, well, how'd you act? How'd you perform in battle? How did you respond to that troubled time, that chaos in your life? And people are like, well, not so good. I really, I actually dropped the ball quite a bit on that, man. I didn't perform at all. And that's challenging, man, because then people are forced to admit the fact that under pressure and under siege, that they totally, just were horrible. And they failed miserably. So people a lot of times don't ever want to acknowledge that definition of who they are or what they did. So that's an important thing to realize, that that's your training, that's your behavioral patterning that happens all the time. That's kind of how it works. And folks, here's the deal. Let me tell you about this. War is chaos, all right? And life can be chaotic as well, too. And it changes like this in an instant. 1 minute you're flying high, you're the Mac Daddy, you're patrolling, and then the next minute, whoop, boom. You are rocked. And taking that rock, you're like, oh my gosh, you're all out of whack. You're like, and it's tough to define yourself in that moment. And a lot of time what happens is people don't have the tools. They don't have the pre-training to be able to do that. Take that pregnant pause, drop a knee, look around, get your battlefield perspective, and just search deep inside yourself and find that faith that, you know what? This is who I am. I will survive. I will persevere. In fact, I will be victorious because I will crawl through a mile of glass and chew through 25 brick walls, and I will take on any enemy that faces me or challenges my moral conviction in this world. And I will take on any enemy that's out there that challenges my team, that tries to bring my brotherhood down. I will be up and I will fight to the bitter end for what I believe in, for what I have faith in. That's hardcore, folks. That's why you need to begin to define yourself on the battlefield, because it's in those moments where you have to have a strong understanding of yourself. You have to be able to whip open that logbook in your brain, right? Just open it up in your brain, and all of a sudden you see the words that you have written before, or you see the words as they're writing themselves in that moment, and you can pull those into your soul. And pull them in and let them inspire your physical capabilities. Let them inspire your mental fortitude. Let them inspire your intestinal fortitude, and let them drive on. Let them push you and propel you on how to be better, how to succeed in those missions. That's hardcore, folks. That's defining yourself on a battlefield. That's why you have to do it, okay? All right. So the next thing, always, everybody wants to know this. They're like, Rut, dude. You were a SEAL, right? Yeah, yep, I was. That's right. And they go, well, how do Navy SEALs define themselves on the battlefield? How do Navy SEALs react in the battlefield? How do Navy SEALs do this and that? And how do they perform under the most extreme circumstances and intensity of life and combat and all that? And I go, it's simple. It's really, it's not rocket fuel or rocket science medicine, that type of thing. All right. We're not solving new chaos string theory or anything like this. All we're doing is training incredibly hard, being totally devoted to our team, living the team life at the highest possible level. We're embracing our fears on a regular basis. And we love what we do. We're filled with purpose. I mean, it defines us, right? That purpose of serving our country, of serving the greater good, that defines us. That's the definition, man, right? We got that purpose thing going, that purpose-driven life, man. That's awesome. And we got that whole other thing about the guy that's next to us, the guy that's sitting behind us or whatever. You look at this right here, man. I'm showing right now on the air. I'm showing a picture of when I got my trident at Team 1, man. And one of the chiefs there is sitting there. He's spraying us down with a cold hose just as we got our trident. That's old Bud stuff, man. But at Team 1, they have them too. You get a little love and hazing there on the grinder because the guy's next to you. He's getting pounded too. And that's definition. That's a definition of team. So that's pretty awesome. So where does that come from? Where does it happen? Well, folks, that's why SEAL training is what it is. That's why we go through something like Hell Week. That's why we get our diving hoses wrapped up in knots in pool comp. And that's why we get totally punished on the rock for our last 4 weeks of a 7-month course just getting pummeled. Just torn around the clock, just getting crushed. Is to help us understand what definition is required of us. That's the beauty of training. That's the beauty of creating, understanding your limitations, pushing yourself outside of the scope of what you thought you could do and really testing your resolve. I mean, that's the beauty of training. That's the unbelievable thing. I mean, that's why you've gone to school your whole life, is to understand definitions, right? Even if they're definitions of times tables, of geometric shapes, or philosophical ideas. I mean, or learning how to use a camera, or use a computer, or code, or whatever. I mean, that's where you learn the definitions, is by training, educating yourself. So without a very intense understanding of training and what it means and what it can do for you folks, you're already behind the power curve, because I'm going to tell you something. And one of my old chiefs, man, one of my mentors told me this a long time ago. He goes, "You do not rise to the occasion. You do not all of a sudden come out of your skin or your camis or whatever and don your Superman chest, your cape, dun, dun, dun. You fall back to your last level of training, period." So what is your training? Because that's part of what defines you, right? So then for us, you move into the platoon, or you go to SQT, you move into your platoon workup, where you're even forced at a higher level, higher performance requirements. You're forced to define yourself on an everyday as it relates to the man next to you in your platoon. Because when you have that definition really beginning to push you and drive you forward, every day you want to evolve. Every day you want to get better as an operator, or get better as a communicator, get better as a shooter, get better for me as a medic, get better as a teammate, get better as an intel rep, whatever your job or assignment is. Every day you're striving to get better because you don't want to let your team down on the battlefield of life, right? Or for us, it's legitimately on the battlefield. So you fast forward and you get into the combat, right? Combat arena. And it's not like I have any crazy massive amount of experience in combat, right? I've done one or two things here and there, but the deal is, I talk to my friends who've been in those, who were in Ramadi for 6-7 months. I talk to my friends who are in Fallujah. I've talked to my friends that have 200 combat operations, And the idea is that it every day combat changes a little bit, but you find a battle rhythm. And that's what is really unique about combat, is you find this battle rhythm, this pace, this place where you settle into things, where things start to make sense, and you understand what you're capable of. You understand how you're going to react. You understand what the greatest things that you can do in the battle of life that really hone in on your skills that define you or your team, your task unit, that battle rhythm. And once you settle into that battle rhythm, then you can start to really perform at higher levels. And what you hopefully do is your battle rhythm is better than your enemy's battle rhythm. Your battle rhythm, your understanding, your definition of what you're capable of in those moments is so much deeper, it's so much better, it's so much clearer than your enemy. So that way you're going to perform better than your enemy. You're ready. You're prepared. You understand that when the bullets start flying past your head, you are not going to go OBE. You are not going to all of a sudden just, turn up face down and get in the fetal position and start sucking your thumb. It ain't going to happen, folks. So that's an important thing to realize, that it's about this battle rhythm, to understand that the insurgency of life is coming at you. Folks, it's coming at you. And so when you do get hammered, to kind of settle in and relax and enjoy. And in fact, that this is part of life and this is going to make you better. And even if you fail miserably, it's still going to make you a better person. You're going to learn from your mistakes. You're going to get these critical lessons learned, and it's going to be awesome for you because you will have achieved. You will have made it through. Yeah, you might be injured. You might have taken a shot to the leg, or like my friend Jason Redmond, been shot in the face, man. But you're going to get back in the fight, and you're going to make a difference because you understand how to define yourself in the battlefield of life. Now, that's pretty hardcore, right? That's SEAL team stuff, right? That's SEAL team. And not everybody out there is going to be a SEAL, and I get it. And I'm not asking everybody to be a SEAL out there. What I am asking everybody out there is you make an effort. Try. Just try a little bit. Try a little bit to define yourself a little bit better. Try a little bit to be a better team player, to live the team life, to forge your self-confidence every day, and to learn how to embrace your fear. And that way, you're going to be better when in those tough moments. All right? You're not going to freak out. You're not going to be bad. So let's move into the Froglogic concept, right? And how we understand or how the Froglogic concept can help you define yourself on the battlefield. Now, again, Froglogic concept. Everybody goes, all right, what is this again? This is my motivational philosophy that I've been forging for the last 20 years, combined with 70 plus years of UDT experience. If you want to know more about it, just go to teamfroglogic.com. That's teamfroglogic.com, where you can see all kinds of blog posts. You can watch videos. I've got a ton of videos on my YouTube channel. I've got the radio show I do every every Saturday morning at 0930 live, and then you can download it on Blog Talk Radio. You can download it or listen to it on my website. You can, and then, folks, tap into my social media network, man. Follow me on Facebook, where I give a daily dose. Twitter, I give motivational feeds, because my mission, guys, is to help you stay motivated. Right? That's my mission in life, is to take what I've learned as a SEAL, to take what I've learned as a behavioral training specialist, to take what I've learned as a father, a husband, a friend, and a teammate, and help you become better at yours, right? To help you understand or how to define yourself. So today, the Froglogic concepts, right? Mission number 1, stay calm, right? Everybody out there loves those posts on Facebook, or those things, stay calm, do a burpee, or remain calm, go CrossFit, or whatever they are. I mean, I love those things too. I think they're awesome. The key is just to stay calm. Yeah, there have been times in my life, folks, where I just, because of training I had, I didn't stay calm, all right? And that got the better of me. But the idea is that now, after evolving, after getting better, after being in more difficult situations in my life, I think I have a pretty good idea. Now, the funny thing is, you ask my incredible wife, the Admiral, whether or not I stay calm all the time, she'll go, be like, no, wait, man. He gets all spun up. He's a frogman. What do you expect, right? And we do, folks. We do get spun up. But the idea is that you can, in a minute, take a step back, take a deep breath. All right, take a little pregnant pause, check out my battlefield perspective, look around me. All right, we're okay. I'm okay. I'm going to be all right. And I got my buddy Billy right in here next to me, my swim buddy. And Billy, you're calm right now, aren't you?
Completely calm.
So that just makes me calm. That's how it works. So folks, just stay calm. Take a breath. Take a pregnant pause. Look around you. Gain some battlefield perspective, and then drive on. Now, once you start driving on, what do you have to do now in order to define yourself? You have to trust your training. You can't get into the combat of life and then all of a sudden start winging it, pulling out some wazoo stuff out of the blue, right? You can't do that. That's nuts. You got to trust your training. You got to trust what you've done before. You got to trust your team that you're prepared for this project you're going in. You got to trust your team that you know what, you got a good support network, that you know how to call out or sound off or sound the alarm when you're getting rocked a little bit. Whoop 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 whoop. I need help over here, right? With a hand raise or a strobe, whatever it is. Sound off your strobe, or a text. Hey, man, I need some help. And that's your training. You fall back on that. So trust your training, all right? Because if you put the effort forth, put forth the effort beforehand, before you get into the combat, and you do the work, you put the time in, folks, at least you can do is trust what you've done, all right? Because like I said, you are going to fall back to your last level of training. Have faith in that. All right, mission 3, here you go. Allow your teammates to inspire you. That's what I'm saying. Literally, allow them to inspire you. Allow to look over at another human being, see their actions, and allow that to well your heart up. Fill it up. I mean, just to where it's busting out, to where you're like, yeah, that is awesome. Or you see some incredible move. Somebody stands up for something that you have faith in or you believe in, and all of a sudden, it just wells you up and it gets you out of your chair, and you're like, yeah, I can do it too. And don't be afraid to jump on board with them. Don't be afraid because of the repercussions, right? Not to take those risks to support the people that you care about, to support the people that you know in your heart are right, but you might not want to support because you don't want to take the risk. But folks, remember, you're defining yourself on the battlefield of life. So it's important for you to be able to come out of your shell, folks. To be able to come out and say something that I support my teammate. I'm inspired by what they're teaching me how to do, and it's going to inspire me to define myself on the battlefield. I'm not going to let anybody else down. I'm not going to let my team down. That's the inspiration you get on the battlefield. All right. All right, here you go. That's pretty awesome, right? So the last one, what we want to do is we want to talk about mission 4, okay? Now, here's a doozy, all right? I hope everybody's ready for this one. Ready? Is everybody listening? Listen, I want you to hear me loud and clear. Everybody's got me 5 by 5 right now. Fight with everything you are. I'm serious. I mean, you are going into battle. You need to fight to the core of what you believe in, who you are as a person, who you are as a teammate, and you need to not quit. Never give up. No matter if you get knocked on your butt, get right back up and fight with everything you are, because that's what life is. It's a fight to stay alive. Now, there's a lot of people out there who are pacifists or who may be not getting what I'm saying, but let me tell you something, folks. Even you realize that you've had to fight a little bit. That you can't just get run over constantly and expect the fact that your stamina, your ability to persevere, your endeavor to perseverance, right, is to come back intact and 20-fold. It's not like that. You need to have some fight in you. You need to believe and stand your ground. Even the most the biggest pacifists in the modern era of Gandhi and Martin Luther King, man, they stood their friggin' ground. They fought for what they believe in. They went to jail, right? They did hunger strikes. That's some fight. Imagine starving yourself to make a point. I mean, that's some fight right there. Pretty awesome if you ask me. Think about all these other things in your life that you're not willing to fight for, because that's defining you. If you just allowed your moral compass to shift one way or the other just because it suits you and you don't feel like, don't get me wrong. Listen, everybody ain't halt at you. Everybody out there who's like, oh, he's out of his mind. He just wants to pick fights with everybody. That's not what I'm saying, all right? There is a way to do everything. There's a way to be tactful. There's a way to show empathy, all right? I'm talking about you use that faith-based principle of that's inside you, right? Right? Where you don't have regret in your life. You don't look back and say, hey, man, I should have stood up for what I believe in this moment. I should have done more for the people that were getting hammered. I wasn't there for them. Because that type of regret, that's going to put you in the box. Because that's defining yourself. And once you start feeling that sense that you didn't do what you needed to do, you didn't become a more serious person on the battlefield. You let the fight wane out of you. And you didn't allow your teammates to inspire you. You didn't trust your training, and you didn't stay calm. Then, folks, what's up with that? Because that's where you define. That's the definition I'm talking about. That's you. That's you right now. Who you are. That's the definition. All right. Woo! That just got to me. I felt that one down deep, Billy. I think Billy's shaking his head. He's like, Roger that, dude. He's like, all right. So what we need to do now is I'm going to take just a real quick break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to take questions online. We've got callers. We got a ton of callers stacked up right now. If you got a question for me, call in at 760-913-4130. That's 760-913-4130. Call in for a question. Or hit me up on Facebook or Twitter. We're going to answer these questions. Let me just take a short break, folks, and we're going to come back, and I'm going to help you define yourself on the battlefield. HOOYAH! All right, everybody. Thanks for holding there. I got a little wash down my gullet there. Start feeling a little good. All right, so now what we need to do, folks, is we're going to take our first caller right here, right now. Here we go. Hold on, it's getting through. Hey, welcome to Navy SEAL Blog Talk Radio. You're on the air. How can I help you? Hello? Yeah, you're on the air.
Hi, Dave. My name is Andrew. I just wanted to say that first-time caller, love the show, love your message, love what you stand for. Keep it up, brother. Navy SEALs are awesome. I can't say enough about the job they've done for our country. I really appreciate the service and the service that they're doing right now and the service you've done. What I want to know is how can I learn to face the challenges or quasi-battlefield of my life like a Navy SEAL? I'll go ahead and take your answer off the air.
Okay, awesome. Andrew, thanks for calling. I appreciate it. Now, here's the deal. Now, like it's funny, man, because everybody, and I appreciate what you said about Navy SEALs, but there are so many awesome units out there, right? There are so many incredible people that are doing amazing things. Look at last week, man. The Delta guys up in Libya. Look at MARSOC, Marine Force Recon, Air Force Special Forces. I mean, there are all these amazing groups out there that are really have created this idea, this mentality of how to succeed on the battlefield. And it's based on our training, right? Because we trust that training. We push ourselves beyond our limitations. So we know that when the battlefield comes, we have the skill sets, right? We can shoot straight. We can communicate. We can move around in the dark. We can do all these special skills. But when it comes down to it, Andrew, and what I'm really saying is in the quasi battlefield of your life, what I have to say to you is who is the team that's around you? Who are the people when you're going into harm's way, when you're doing things? How do you influence those people? How do you lead those people? How do you really embrace the challenges that are around you? I mean, what do you exude? What are the characteristics? Because that's your definition. And if you're succeeding and you've been successful in the past, man, then just stick with what you got going, man, because obviously it's working. If it's challenged, then reach out to somebody that you know, trust, and love and ask them for help. Ask them I do it all the time. I've got this incredible buddy of mine, really just an awesome human being. And back a few years ago where I was struggling to really bang out my book, my adult field manual called Navy SEAL Training, Self-Confidence. And if you want to buy it, you can buy it on our store at teamfroglogic.com/store. You can buy it off iBooks and Kindle and Nook and all that. When I was struggling to finish this book, folks, it was this guy who I would turn to. I'd be procrastinating. I'd go into another place because I was contracting at the time. And I'd go into another room and he'd look at me and says, "What are you doing, knucklehead? This book ain't going to write itself. So get over it. Just put your little measly little fingers down on that keyboard and start punching that thing out and finish what you start." So it's funny, man, that guy inspired me. So, Andrew, what I say to you, brother, is get out there, and find those people that are directly in your theater of battle and allow them to influence you, allow them to get you fired up. All right, that was a great caller. Awesome question. Thanks for calling in. So now I'm going to take one off of Facebook right here. Okay, here you go. Ready? All right, here's one. What is the best way to stay motivated against stacked odds on a day-to-day basis? Okay, now the question that I got for you on that one, Facebook friend, is what are the stacked odds? I mean, why is it stacked against you? This notion that because of who we are or what we do or whatever, that the odds naturally stack against us, usually as a result of our own behavior, right? Are you acting squared away? Are you being the better person? Are you living a righteous life? Are you pushing yourself beyond your limitations? And if it just keeps happening, maybe you've got that boss who just has been around the longest and they're just not going to change and they don't want they're threatened by everybody. Then what I'm saying, guess what? If those odds are just too overwhelming and you're not going to change them and you've tried everything that you can try to change those odds, because guess what? You can shift the battlefield around by some good tactics, folks. All right? The odds when they're stacked up against you on a regular basis, that just means because you haven't moved your spot. You're literally in a knee, with your good cheek well, but you haven't moved. And you've got to move. You've got to change it up. You've got to shift fire a little bit. So, when I hear these people talk about the odds constantly stacked up against them, what I say to you is shift your battlefield perspective. Change it around. And if you have to, get off the battlefield, take a loss, and come back another day and win the fight. All right. That's a pretty good question right there. I dig that. Let's take another quick one right here. All right. Here we go. All right. What's the best way to deal with your fears? I'll tell you what, we're gonna answer that question in a series here over December called "Embrace Your Fear." So I'm gonna pass on that one. Here you go. Right now, if you had to do it all over again, what would you if you had to do it all again? Do it all over again. What was the hardest part of training, and why would you want to be a SEAL? All right. Yeah, I'd do it all over again. In fact, it's all the time. I'm mentoring young men right now. I got 2 young men that are actively in the SEAL teams and going through and all that. And man, I think about like my one person is, just finished Hell Week recently. And I'll tell you what, man, I go, that would have been awesome to be with him in Hell Week, or it would have been awesome to be his instructor. But I don't think about it like that anymore because I've got a new mission in my life. And that's the challenge, right? Is I have to move on from being a SEAL. Sure, I use it as a huge part of who I am and kind of the message that I relate to everybody. But listen, there's my next challenge of being a great father, of being a great husband, of being a great friend, or being a great radio show host is in front of me. So that's how I have to define myself now. Right? I'm a radio show host, so I've got to be good on the air. I've got to get my training in. I've got to practice my openings, my closing. I've got to practice taking and fielding questions. I've got to make sure that my content is squared away before I go in. And then when I'm on the air, I can't suck, right? So I appreciate it, and what I've done again, absolutely. But I'm in a new mission now, and I've got to get focused on what my objectives are now. All right, so we got another caller coming on now, so stand by. Here we go. Welcome to Navy SEAL Blog Talk Radio. You're on the air. How can I help you? Hello? Hello? All right, we're going to go to another one now. We're going to take this. Got another caller right here. Hey, welcome to Navy SEAL Blog Talk Radio. You're on the air. How can I help you? Hello? Hello? Man, we're having all kinds of technical difficulty, or I just think maybe they don't want to ask any questions. No big deal at all. Here we go. Sorry about that. We're going to move over to the questions online here. All right, so here's one right now. How do you overcome the people that are negative around you? The ones you can't get away from? This is one of the most common questions I get hit up on Facebook, right? This is one of the most common questions I get hit on all these things, is that just, it is what it is, folks. There are going to be negative people around us all the time. That's the negative insurgency. That's old Mr. Murphy. That's constantly looming in the shadows, right? Who's changing faces, whether it's people we work with or people we love, our family members that are just changing their shift, and they're putting new cami on, and they're coming out of the woodwork, and they're hammering us with their negative ideas and their negative mindset. Well, guess what? Here's the deal. You learn to deal with them. All right? Because they're not going away, folks. You're never going to get to find this place that's nirvana. All right? It just doesn't happen that way. It just doesn't happen. It is what it is. They're everywhere. Even in the SEAL teams, we had people. In fact, a lot of these highly elite units out there, they are negative because it's just such a competitive field that it's just constantly hammering each other to see who'll break first. And, it is what it is and keeps you fresh there. But when you do it in your civilian life or you do it out here, man, that people take a beating long enough, and it's just like, man, I'm tired of it. So what I say to you with that question is go out and find some people that aren't negative. Recruit a new team for yourself. Go find new swim buddies who want to be positive in your life and be there for you, okay? That's a huge deal. All right, let's get to the all right, this is a big one right here. It goes, how do you handle PTSD? Now that's a big question, folks. All right, I got that off Facebook. That's a gigantic question. Post-traumatic stress disorder is no joke. In fact, there are many people out there that estimate, some 2 million plus people served in the last 13 years. Plus, we have World War II vets. We've got Vietnam vets. Anybody that's ever been in conflict. Heck, man, we have people that have been raped, molested, beaten, punished. All those people that are suffering from some form of post-traumatic stress disorder that are existing or coexisting with us in our life. And so there is no one super pill that you can swallow that helps you deal with it. There's no one training program that helps you deal with it. None of that. And I'm going to do a whole show on PTSD here coming up soon. But the way you deal with it is you actively get help. All right? You actively pursue help. If you think you're going to figure this stuff out you're wrong, folks. If you're just going to be a trooper and you're going to deal with it and take it, and you're going to take it on a chin just like battle, and then it'll somehow go away, you're wrong, all right? The way our brains and the way our minds store memory is man, it logs it in, like burns it into the core conscious and subconscious of your mind down deep, right? That's what trauma is all about. So that trauma is always there. It's not going. You can't unexperience things. All right. So what you have to do is you have to face that experience. You have to embrace it in such a way that you learn to understand it, control, be able to manipulate it so it doesn't kill you, crush you, defeat you. All right. And that's a great question right there about the battlefield of life, because ultimately what are you asking? What happens in battle? You're scarred. Whether you're physically scarred with getting shot, or you're physically scarred by some abuse you've taken in your life, or you're mentally scarred, which is most likely the case. And those mental scars, man, one thing about physical scarring or physical injuries, they end up healing. Yeah, they might leave a little remnants where you lose a little range of motion, or whatever. But the fact is, the mental scar, man, that is deep, deep, deep stuff. So in order to make sure that negative scarring is positive scarring, and I'll have a show about that as well too, negative to positive scarring, is, you've got to face that. You've got to roger up, go get some real professional help, and get yourself dialed in. All right, that's pretty squared away right there. So Billy, do we got any questions on Twitter, bud?
Yes, we do. How do you put battles you've lost or didn't perform up to your expectations behind you?
Ooh, that is a great question. The question was, how do you put battles that you've lost or you didn't perform up to the highest thing behind you? And here's what I got to tell you right now. Don't put those battles behind you. In fact, you know what I mean? Keep them right up in the forefront of your consciousness, right up here in your frontal lobe, right? And keep them down next to the definition of how poorly you did. Write down why you performed badly, right? Why you did it. And because guess what? Those are the lessons that will be so ingrained in you that when you acknowledge them, accept them, welcome them, and realize that you struggled in that moment, then guess what? That's going to help you not do it again. So don't forget about them. Don't try and bury them down, just shoving them down in that kit of life, that sea bag of life, shoving them. Don't do that, man. Keep them fresh. Keep them fresh in your mind. Because there's a thing that happens when you start to embrace your fear, that really it forges your self-confidence. Because the next time, chances are, if you've trained yourself, you've kept it fresh, you will not perform. You will not repeat those same mistakes like you did in the past. And that's a good thing. Trust me. All right. That's a great question. All right, we're going to go, Billy, we're going to go back online here, buddy. We're going to take a caller. All right, here we go. Hey, welcome to Navy SEAL Blog Talk Radio. You're on the air. Hello? You there? Yeah, you there? What you got for me? Send it.
How do you keep the fire in your gut when you constantly are coming to work and finding out that you're having to pick up the slack from the shift? I work in healthcare, and you have to constantly pick up the slack from the shift the day before. How do you keep that momentum going when you walk in that you're beat down because the other part of your team just isn't pulling their weight?
Oh, brother, dude, I hear you loud and clear on this one. One of the things that just drove me absolutely bonkers when I was going through 18 Delta training, right? When I was doing my rotations up in New York City and all the hospitals and in the ERs and in the ambulances and the firehouses. And then also when I did my refresher course down in San Antonio, what drove me nuts was to come in after a shift and just the blatant disregard people had for cleaning up their stations, the poor care they were given at the end of their shifts, all this stuff, and just the mess they lead, and then also their poor attitude for turnover, right? And I feel you, brother. That's one of the hardest things in the world. People don't get it. People nowadays, they go into hospitals or doctors' offices and they get so upset because, they're treated so poorly or they're not getting the type of quality they believe. Well, guess what? Those people are beat down, folks, because they see sickness every day. They see pain every day. They see people suffering every day. And trust me, the majority of people out there do not handle this stuff very well. And so that it starts to affect them. And then over time, guess what? They submit. Now, here's what I'm saying to you, brother. You have to stay true to what your purpose is, man. You have to stay true that the healthcare you're providing makes a difference. That Hippocratic oath, right? So often we take those oaths, we raise our hands, and we commit to helping other human beings in their time of great need, that we forget that that's what's driving you to do this. So what I say is listen, man, you come in and whatever they've left for you, just embrace it, because the stronger you become and the more you play a role in taking a leadership position to not allow your shift to change, maybe you can be the one that really becomes exceptional and that you begin to change the lives of the people that you're servicing. You begin to put the smiles on their faces. You begin to see the joy in someone's face that's staring at their 10th round of chemo or getting a bone marrow transplant or whatever it is, brother, that you can look at them in the face and you can give them the type of care that makes them feel like as they're on death's door, that they feel good. So, man, it's a tough industry, brother, but, stay true to what your purpose is. Does that help you out at all?
It does. You're saying reshift my focus to why I'm really there.
That's it, brother. I know it's hard, dude. Trust me, I've been there. I've been the guy that, I'll tell you a story. The first call I had when I was on the ambulance, or first life and death call I had on the ambulances in 1997, it was Halloween night. We got called to a diff breather in the South Bronx. We go running up. Of course, I'm the rookie, so I'm carrying everything up these flights of stairs. We get up in there. It's a 2-room apartment, right? And there's this big guy that's sprawled out on the ground. He's in full cardiac arrest, and there's some huge firefighter just pounding his chest away, and then his family, his wife and 2 sons and her girlfriends are sitting literally 3 feet away from the guy, and the guy is just, he's a mess on the floor, and they're like, all right, rookie, jump on him. And so I worked this dude on a code for 40 minutes, and then finally, one of the paramedics that I was riding with looks over at me, and he's like, all right, stop. And here I am, I'm sweating bullets, all my stuff spread all over the place, and I'm just pounding on this guy's chest, and I'm like, what'd you say? Repeat your last, And he's like, stop, dude. I just talked to the guy, the doc. He wants you to stop. And so I kind of stopped, and I was looking around like, is this right? Is this the right thing? And he's looking at me, and as his partner looks over at me and goes, all right, now pick up your stuff. Let's get out of here. Let's go get a cup of coffee. And this is right in front of their family. Here, this guy just died in front of me and on me, and that I couldn't bring him back, and he's dead. And now all of a sudden, I just got to pick up my stuff and walk out and leave him to the corner or leave it to the cops or whatever. I was like, well, what do we do now? And they're like, it's not our problem anymore. And that affected me, and so. What I resigned and what I said that I would never do, because I felt horrible that I didn't go up to that family and say, I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry that you're going through this, or give him some kind of compassion and say, listen, I did everything I could. I'm just sorry. It was his time, but he'll be all right with God now. I didn't say that. And so after that, I was determined that no matter what I was going to do, I was trying to give good health care. Now, it's funny, you ask the students that were students of mine going through training when I was an instructor, man, they'll tell you my bedside manner sucked, but that's what it's all about, brother. It's staying true to your purpose, that you are helping lives, okay?
Yeah, I really appreciate that.
You got it, brother. Good luck to you, man, and you'll be all right. Trust me. God bless. All right, let's go back here to the internet. Let's take one more. All right, here's a question right there. It says, who is Jesus to you? Now, folks, that is a heavy, heavy question, and it absolutely pertains to the combat of life, but I am not going to answer that one right now. We're going to do a full show on faith here coming up in the future, but I like where your mind's at, right? And here's another one. You got another one for me on Twitter there, Billy?
Yes, I do. How do you stay calm and composed during an overwhelming and chaotic moment?
Ooh, how do you stay calm and composed? Literally, there are a couple ways to do that, folks. All right, one, I love it, like Rangers, take a knee, turn outboard, drink water, all right? That's one of my favorite things in the world. And think about it. You can actually do that. If you're being overwhelmed and it's just hammering the dog snot out of you, right? And you're like, and you're just getting pummeled, right? Just literally take a step back, drop to a knee, right? Find a quiet room, get your glass of water and turn outboard and take a sip. Oh, all right. I'm okay. I'm going to be all right. I'm going to get back in the fight, all right? What's going on right now? Let me gain some battlefield perspective. Let me take a look at what's happening. Where am I getting hit from? Where is it coming from right now? All right, let me get an idea. Let me. Where's my training? What part of my training can I apply to this aspect of the combat of life? All right, who's on my team right now? All right, I got Billy. I got my wife, the Admiral. I got my kids. I got my father. I got old Brian there. He's ready to go. All right, we're ready to tackle this now. All right, now let's stand up, put our chests out, get some self-confidence, and drive on with the team life and get back in the fight. That's one thing you can do. It's literally that simple, All right? Take a pregnant pause. Take a step back. You know, detach yourself for one moment so your perception will match the reality of the situation. So often we just don't do this. We put our head down and you take what I was saying, fight with everything that you are to be, it's like we're going to just go in flail state 9 and just start, you know, hitting everything you can, right? Wild, you know, just swinging haymakers constantly everywhere you look. Well, guess what, folks? All you're going to do is get tired, drop your arms, and then somebody's going to double leg take down you and put you in a rear naked guillotine, right? Just like Hanato has taught me how to do. All right. That's one way. There's a lot of other ways, folks, but find the way that works for you. But what you have to do is you have to get some cover, get some concealment, stop taking direct fire, take a deep breath, a pregnant pause, get your wits, get your team better, and then get back in the fight. That was a good question. I like that one a lot. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take, let's see. Here we go. Let me go through these. All right. You got another one on there for me, bud?
Yes. What would I do if I were a SEAL?
What would I do if I were a SEAL? All right. That's a tough one. That's actually a tough one. All right. What you would do if you were a SEAL is exactly what I just talked about. All right. You would trust your training. All right. You would embrace the fact that, you know, you'd fight with everything you are. You'd never quit. You would stay calm on the battlefield. And you know what? You would also allow your teammates to inspire you. That's what the beauty of the brotherhood is all about, is we're constantly surrounded with these incredible human beings that are pushing themselves every single day. So that's why it's so critical to live the team life, folks, to really live the team life, to come out of your shell and embrace the fact that there are people around you. And I've had some questions on there. How do you find a swim buddy? Go start recruiting people, interview people, find people who inspire you that are in your world around you, people that you might have never ever met, and come out of your shell, ask them for help or develop a friendship. And next thing you know, you're going to be in the battle together. And you just keep accumulating this great team. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people will fade away and leave and go another place, but that is what it is. That's part of life. That's the combat of life. You know, teammates come and go, swim buddies come and go. But guess what? What you do is you keep driving on. You don't quit. You don't give up. Have faith in yourself, all right? Define yourself on the battlefield with the love that is there, right? Allow yourself to love that you're in this beautiful thing called life. Allow yourself to define yourself with the beauty of living the team life, that you have it. You know, yet you're going to fail and it's okay. And when you do that, folks, when you start to define yourself at that level with love and with faith and with all the things with the team, guess what? You will be victorious. All right, that is awesome, man. It's just what an awesome day. We had great questions for everybody out there, for all you guys out who I didn't get to, for the people that sent in, were online, and callers that I didn't get, that didn't come through. I apologize. Call in, next weekend or weekend after, please, with a question. I want to hear what you got. Trust me. So again, folks, if you want to know more about me and what Froglogic is all about, go to our website at teamfroglogic.com. Check out our YouTube channel on YouTube. Check out where you can actually watch some of these broadcasts. Billy here is my production guy, and he's putting these shows on so you can watch me live, or not live, but recorded, do these shows on air. You know, this show's on every single Saturday morning at 9:30, or you can download it on blogtalkradio.com. You can follow me on Facebook, on Twitter, on Pinterest, on Google+, on LinkedIn. Man, I'm on every single one of them out there, and it's my mission to give you a daily dose, right? So, and I want to thank all the people in my life that have helped me. My wife, the Admiral, my family, all the friends that I have, my teammates here at Team Froglogic. Thanks for helping us get through this. Most importantly, I want to give a shout out to my pop, who's helped me get through an unbelievable battle recently. And just, I really appreciate it, Pop. It's awesome. So, all right, folks, and check out our store, too, teamfroglogic.com/store. We have an incredible new T-shirt called the Live the Team Life T-shirt out there. You will love it. Wear it proudly with, get the book, man. All right, just come on board, be a part of our team. HOOYAH, hey. All right, thank you for listening. I'm your host, David Rutherford, Navy SEAL motivational speaker, behavioral training specialist, author, and life coach. And it's my mission in life to help you embrace your fears, forge your self-confidence, and learn how to live the team life. Oh yeah, one last thing, don't forget, I'm your new swim buddy. Let's get motivated. Ow!